The other day, I was going cross-eyed at my desk at work. I was on the last hour of my shift, writing up a letter, and I was literally saying to my friend, I can't wait for AI to take over. And they were like, honestly, yes, it would make life so much easier. And thankfully, we're doctors. AI can't replace us. We'll still have a job. And part of me was thinking, what if we don't? I don't know about anyone else, but I am seeing a lot of concerning headlines lately. With the news that nearly half of entry-level jobs are going to be replaced by AI in the next few years, it's no wonder that a lot of us are worried. But there's a bigger problem at play, because the very people who made AI are being replaced by AI. Whilst all of us are worrying what jobs are AI-proof, even being an AI developer isn't AI-proof. When you zoom out on 2025, it seems like AI is now on the verge of harming us more than it's helping us. And it doesn't seem like there's a lot being done about this. Today, I want to deep dive into what the future holds for Gen Z and the people entering the job market if nearly half of jobs are going to be wiped out. I'm going to be touching on how greed is one of the biggest influences on human behavior and how it's changing the world in real time. And my theory on what the dystopian future that we're inevitably heading towards might actually look like. Hey, if you're new, welcome to the cozy corner of the internet. I'm your host, Christina, and I help people stop shrinking and start living. I am a doctor, creator, and coach living and working in the UK, and I help people stop thinking about their dream self and start becoming their dream selves. It's my job to help people throw their bad habits of comparison, overthinking, and their fear of judgment in the trash. So if that sounds good to you, then please make sure to subscribe. I don't know if you guys can tell already, but I have been down a deep, dark rabbit hole. Honestly, at this point, it's more of a sinkhole of all things AI, the future, the job market, entry-level jobs. And honestly, I need someone to share it to, so here we are. Here we are with this video. The scary thing about AI and AI replacing our jobs is it really isn't predictable. I know people like to speculate on the fact that, doctors will be safe, or doctors aren't safe, lawyers are safe, accountants are safe. Everyone has a different idea of what jobs are AI-proof and which ones aren't. And honestly, I feel like none of us can actually predict what the future has in store. That's why it's so scary. I'll never forget a story I once heard of a music company. They made CDs back in the day, I think it was in the 90s, and the CEO and founder of the company was like, we'll always be in business because people always want to listen to music. This was said literally months before the company filed for bankruptcy, because very soon after, streaming and Spotify started to emerge. And I feel like this is a classic example of how people don't think that they can be replaced until they are replaced. In case I didn't mention already, we are about to lose 50% of entry-level jobs in the next couple years. This is what's being said by one of the founders of a very big AI company called Anthropic. And now, if we lose half of entry-level jobs, what does this mean for Gen Z and Gen Alpha? What does this mean for the people that are just about to graduate university? What does this mean for people that are just about to enter the job market? I think what we're about to see in future is not people being interviewed for what skills do you have, but instead, what skills do you have that you leverage with AI?
I think if your job is as routine as it comes, your job is gone in the next couple of years. In those jobs, for example, quality assurance jobs, data entry jobs, you're sitting in front of a computer and you're supposed to click and type things in a certain order. Operator and those technologies are coming on the market really quickly, and those are going to displace a lot of labor.
The thing about routine jobs is so many jobs are routine. I can't think of a single job where you quite literally do a completely different thing every day. Like, I do different things every day, but there's like a framework to what I do every day. Like, one day I might see a couple patients with like chest pain, and someone literally has a heart attack, or someone just has like a flu and their flu's causing them chest pain. Another day I'm seeing patients that have finished a surgery and they're just recovering from surgery. I'm doing different things. Someone recovering from surgery is different to someone who's had a heart attack, but my framework of what I'm doing is always the same. And I would consider my job genuinely a routine job. People hear doctor and they think you're literally out here saving lives. Honestly, 99% of the time, you're just doing like routine admin. You're typing things up. You're asking very similar questions. Like, oh my God, a good chunk of the questions I ask are repetitive. Part of me would like to reassure myself and tell me that doctors are safe. Like, doctors will always be employed. Like, we'll always have doctors. But I don't want to be that delusional CD company owner person that was like, oh, people always listen to music, when actually, yeah, people always want to listen to music, but they want to listen to music where it's the most easy and convenient. Like, people want access to doctor, Sure, people want to access me as a doctor, but people want to access that when it's the most easy and convenient. Like, what if there's an AI that will make my job more easy and convenient, and then I no longer have a job anymore? I think the change that we're going to see in the next 10 years is probably the one that we saw 10 years ago, where instead of jobs being completely replaced, they're just going to shift a little bit. Like 10 years ago, you probably could see a lot of, established taxi drivers, whereas now we see a lot of established Uber drivers. Back in the day, there were companies selling CDs, whereas now we're seeing companies that sell streaming services. Back in the day, you used to buy a ticket to go to the cinema, whereas now you just sit at home and watch Netflix. These are all exactly the same things, they just look very different. And all of them leverage technology in some way. So part of me is reassuring myself in the sense that my job won't be completely deleted and gone. It will just look very different. Before AI will completely disrupt your industry, it will probably just speed up your industry. You'll be required to use AI at work and use AI to do things more quickly and speed up the routineness of your day job. And that's honestly something I'm looking forward to as someone who does a lot of mundane, repetitive tasks every day.
For mundane intellectual labor, AI is just going to replace everybody.
People say that it will create new jobs though, so we'll be fine.
Yes, and that's been the case for other technologies, but this is a very different kind of technology. If it can do all mundane human intellectual labor, then what new jobs is it going to create? You'd have to be very skilled to have a job that it couldn't just do.
But then what happens after AI's sped up your industry? It's made your job easier. What happens when it completely takes your job? What are the jobs that AI can't replace? In the Economic Times, there's a couple of jobs and industries that they think AI can't replace. One of them being physical labor. This one makes perfect sense. If you're a plumber, electrician, a decorator, AI physically at the moment is not widely available in like robot form. So for now, it seems like you're pretty safe. Like AI might be able to diagnose a heart attack based on a scan and some blood tests, and it might be able to write a very complex legal contract on behalf of a lawyer, but AI can't paint your bathroom walls or fix your blocked sink. So for now, physical labor and physical jobs are actually very AI proof. You're also safe for now if you have a creative job. If you're an artist, a writer, a strategist, a painter, anything in the creative world, because for now, AI doesn't quite have the creative skills that humans do. Now, this one is really up for debate. I see a lot of people saying that AI will replace artists, AI will replace even models. We've seen so many like AI models, AI influencers come up recently. I personally find when it comes to artwork, interesting, intriguing things, AI can't innovate. Like AI can replace what's already been done. It can copy, it can emulate. I've seen a lot of backlash come up recently where an AI like completely rips off an artist's piece of work. It just copies it, or an AI like takes inspiration from a real artist's work and it's just copying it. I do find myself as like a writer, because I know I show up on YouTube and I'm talking, I'm holding a microphone. Before I sit down and talk, I am a writer. Like I write down quite a lot of what I want to say and I try to like form my ideas like in a coherent manner. I find when I'm writing and when I'm trying to be really creative with it, AI can't quite replicate what I'm trying to do. Like I've used ChatGPT, I've tried Claude, I've tried Perplexity, I've tried a few of them. And I find I still put in a good 4 or 5 hours sometimes planning each video because AI just can't like create what I'm looking for just like that. Having spoken to some of you guys as well, I know a lot of you guys say you find my videos helpful based on my experience, and I'm talking like really honestly and candidly about what I've gone through, especially in my relationship and friendship videos. And I think maybe that's why like AI doesn't have life experience. And I know in my world, in my channel, the thing that really adds value is my life experience and like my honest thoughts on things. And because AI can't create new things creatively, it just replicates what's already been done by a human. I feel like when it comes to the entertainment creative industry, humans almost will always be in the lead. That's another industry actually. This wasn't mentioned in the Economic Times, but I do think entertainment is an AI-proof industry. AI can't make you laugh. Yeah. AI can't make you cry from performing a love song yet. AI can't make you on the edge of your seat from an action movie yet. Like for now, humans know how to entertain. Humans know how to engage other humans. It'll be interesting to see. Again, they know how to copy as well. ChatGPT knows how to copy as well, but it can't like create. Like we have creativity. I don't think AI has that just yet. The Economic Times also thinks obviously AI aligned roles are pretty AI proof. If you're an AI developer, if you work in AI safety, if you work in AI development, all these kind of things. you're safe for now. A couple months ago, I was talking to a friend who works for a very big YouTuber. She's a writer for this YouTuber. This YouTuber literally has like, I want to say 7 million subscribers. I mean, you know how we're talking about her job and how she got into it? She went to like the top university in the UK, and I was like, oh my God, like, you know, networking. And she was telling me all these things. But she was saying, given the rise in AI, she's kind of like boycotting ChatGPT. Like, as a writer, she knows writing for his channel and putting together research for all his videos. She knows she could just use ChatGPT for it, but she's very much like, she doesn't want to use it. She doesn't want to de-skill herself and get too reliant on AI. And at the time, I was like fully in favor for it. I remember my channel was growing myself and I was kind of like, yeah, I don't really use AI much because I didn't. But then fast forward to now, part of me is weirdly in like a limbo state. Each time I search things for a video or just for life, I'm like, if I get too reliant on AI, what happens when it goes away? Part of me thinks now, and what the future holds for us is, it's not really a flex. Say you say you're like an amazing mathematician and you're like, I can do mental math so well. I don't need a calculator. Like, I can do mental math in my head so well. It's not really a flex in this day and age to say that. Like, now it's more of a flex to say like, you can do groundbreaking, insane calculations with a calculator or with AI. Like, going forward, I just know for a fact employers aren't looking for people that can excel outside of AI. They're looking for people that can excel with AI. And now, if a bunch of jobs are going to be replaced by AI, that's going to surely leave a bunch of people unemployed. And what's interesting is that governments, politicians, policymakers are already planning for this. And one of their plans that seems pretty legit and pretty solid, they're already testing it right now. They're testing it actually near my local area, is a universal basic income. Essentially, giving people free money. Essentially, there's a theory that in a dystopian future where so many people are completely unemployed because of AI taking many mundane routine jobs, people are going to end up with so much free time not working, that to keep people going and to keep people living their lives, the government will have to give most people just a universal basic income. What's crazy is there's a pilot happening for this right now near the town that I used to study at university, like 2 hours from me where I live. There's literally a pilot of 30 people in a place in the northeast of England that are being given £1,600 every month completely for free. They're also testing this down south in London, and they're testing essentially whether or not giving people free money will affect their mental and physical health and their choice whether or not to work. This pilot that's happening nearby to me isn't solely based on AI. It's kind of based on a whole set of other factors, but based on a podcast I listened to the other day where they were speaking to the godfather of AI, the guy who discovered the neural pathways behind AI many decades ago. He was predicting that governments will have to put in place a universal basic income similar to the one that they're trialing right now to deal with the impact of the inequality that AI creates, because it will essentially just create an even larger wealth gap between the wealthy and the poor.
And is there a wealth inequality issue here that will arise from this?
Yeah, I think in a society which shared out things fairly, if you get a big increase in productivity, everybody should be better off. Mm. But if you can replace lots of people by AIs, then the people who get replaced will be worse off, and the company that supplies the AIs will be much better off, and the company that uses the AIs. So it's going to increase the gap between rich and poor. And we know that if you look at that gap between rich and poor, that basically tells you how nice a society is. If you have a big gap, you get very nasty societies in which people live in walled communities and put other people in mass jails. It's not good to increase the gap between rich and poor.
For example, even Bill Gates thinks that we need to sort of implement a sort of robot tax. His theory is that companies that are creating AI that is contributing to the loss of jobs for humans and replacing human workers will have to pay a tax on that. And I personally think that that makes sense. Like, if your company is so disruptive and so revolutionary that it literally is replacing people's jobs and people are now out of employment and it's no longer like they can just find another job, like it's not that easy. It never was that easy for our generation anyway. I think Gen Z and millennials know just how hard it is to find a job. There is a tax that should be paid on that. And maybe in theory, that's how the government will fund this universal basic income, this free money that will just go to people that are unemployed. Maybe this robot tax could be used to fund that. As I was sat there deep diving on the internet at 1 a.m. when I should have been asleep because I've got work tomorrow, I was kind of thinking, how did we actually get here? Like, whose idea was this? I have a feeling, the person who created AI was probably thinking like, this is going to better humanity, speed things up. And honestly, part of me is excited for it because it truly will help me with my job. Like, I don't think I can be the best, most effective and efficient doctor that I can be with such an outdated tech system that's literally from the 1990s. Like, I heard a rumor, I don't know if it's true, but I heard a rumor at my hospital or the hospital that I used to be at, that the 1990 version of our IT system was free, but then the modern one cost like a really expensive amount. So the hospital just decided to go with the free version from the 1990s. That's why it was so slow and so outdated. So naturally, I can't be the most effective and productive person when I'm using such an old system. So part of me is excited for AI. And maybe that was the vision for the people behind ChatGPT and the people behind all these other tech companies. But somewhere along the way, it's quite clear that there was a completely new motivator. And part of me think that's greed. Have you ever heard the story of the golden goose and their golden eggs? If you've not, I'm going to quickly explain it. So the golden goose and the golden eggs. The story is there was once a farmer who was struggling to make ends meet, didn't have a lot of money. So he one day bought a goose from a market. He didn't think much of the goose, but when he took the goose home, he discovered that it was laying golden eggs. Because it was laying golden eggs, he could sell these eggs for a lot of money. And so he did this. It was laying like an egg a day. So he was making a lot of money. Then one day he kind of got a bit greedy and he thought, okay, well, if I just murder this goose, then surely there'll be lots more eggs inside the goose and I can just sell all these eggs all at once. I won't have to wait a day at a time. Sadly, he kills the goose and finds that there's nothing inside. And now he was left without any more golden eggs and without a golden goose. And the story is essentially summarizing this lesson that greed will be your downfall. And I personally think this can happen on a big scale or a small scale. I mean, how many times have you seen or heard about someone who just has an insatiable desire to climb the corporate ladder and is just greedy or hungry just for more status and more power in a company? Greed is an interesting thing because I think greed starts off as just desire, like a simple, I want this thing. And then it gets to a point where it's just insatiable. You cannot get enough of it. And then it becomes greed. It's a drug that you're addicted to, not because you want more and you've achieved more, but simply because of what it allows you to create. Because you get attention, you create confidence. Or because you get savings, you create security. Because you create the biggest AI company in the world, you create power. Greed is one of those things that you become so addicted to that it almost blinds you and you don't realize it's become a problem until it's too late. And part of me worries that that's what we're seeing now. Based on the research I've done, I've seen a lot of AI founders say kind of like, this is a problem. Like, we need to slow this down. We need to start looking into how we can not replace humans in their jobs, but support humans in their jobs. And then I'm seeing another cohort of founders and powerful people in this industry say, oh, it's not a problem. Don't worry. What are you talking about? This is an amazing tool. Like, this is amazing. I think desire is completely normal. I think in your early years, it's totally normal to be yearning for more from life, whether that's in your career or in your relationships or in your friendships. However, desire has been brushed to the side and greed has taken over when you find yourself getting a taste of success and still feeling empty. Your desire can no longer be quenched and it's now literally a bottomless pit to the point where you can't get enough, whether it's attention or validation or status or money or power. Something I find so interesting about like the human condition and a lot of what I talk about on this channel is that it really doesn't matter like your life circumstances. A lot of our behavior is motivated by similar things. For example, a guy that is, say, a player and has a bunch of girls on his roster, treats them like they don't have feelings and just uses them for his own gratification, probably is motivated honestly by a lot of insecurity. Like, only someone that's insecure and needs validation would like manipulate that many people, treat them poorly and just discard them. Similarly, a CEO that's very powerful and has a big company and manipulates his or her, they manipulate their employees, the world, politicians, purely just to grow their own company for their own gratification, to become the biggest, baddest, like CEO of the company in the world. I think for someone to grow something so aggressively at the detriment of other people, again, I think that can only be motivated by insecurity. Greed comes in lots of different sizes and lots of different fonts, but it's always spelt the same. I think you can always recognize greed when someone is hurting other people purely for the gain of their own ego. And it makes me wonder that, sometimes when you're plugged into a more powerful source, like when you're plugged in with more money or plugged in with more power, plugged in with more influence, like how much further can this go? But that is what I've discovered recently. I don't normally leave my videos on such a negative note, but things will get better before they get worse. But we'll have to see. This is all speculation. I know if you're watching this in your 20s, like this can be such a stressful time. Not only are you trying to figure out your current career, you're worried about the career that you might not have because of AI or the career that you'll have to learn to integrate AI into. It can really feel like your 20s is just a treadmill that never slows down. It only ever gets faster and you suddenly suddenly have all these weights put on you and the suitcases thrown at you in a sink and all these things. It's so stressful. I talk about this in my Millennials Were Right, Adulting is Hard video, where I unpack and dissect all things overwhelming and just hard to get a grasp with in your 20s. So if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll enjoy that one too. Thank you so much for watching. Can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments. I'm very, very curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.